I drove 2,000 miles to Lawrence from Denver with the sage advice in my head of Dr. Vincent Harding, my mentor. Whatever you do, Julie, with your big education, work with young people, the hope of this nation. When I arrived in the city, the longtime home of the family of my father, there was only one spot to be, El Taller. Anywhere else? Why even bother? So I went 2-3 times a week tops, set up shop, coffee, books, laptop. My regular server, if not Nate, was one Kayla Rodriguez. No one sunshinier than she was. Turns out she was a spoken word artist, soon to be leading a workshop at University Lawrence, where she dropped a prompt. Write about the most painful experience of your life. And I shared in that circle of writers a time of deep strife. And as I listened to the other poets, mostly young, Dr. Harding's spirit spoke to mine and said, "These are them, Julie. These are the ones." And when the workshop was over, one of the young poets approached. She said, "You should come to our group." She meant this from the heart. She wasn't coached. And that young woman's name was Rania Enriquez, who I found out later there was no one less inclined to actually speak with other people than she was. But the invitation she sent and Dr. Harding's voice were the reasons I went. And my first day was also the first day of the Celestial Celeste. And there was Rania, there was Kayla, there was Melissa, there was Tim. Next week, Angel. And this Jose, he kept breezing out and breezing in. Later on would come Junior and Clint. I fell in love with each and every one of them. And from the moment that first day that our pens hit the paper, an authentic voice rose from all, from within, from the place of true self. We were creators. Each time some jaw-dropping brilliance, twist of phrase, rhyme, cadence, flow, there was truth, there was trust. No one knew how it would go. And how it has all come together, it still feels like a mystery. But from that very first day I went, there's been something special here. It feels like we are making history.
In DE. GS was waiting for me while I was living in OKC, unknowingly with every word I wrote between the lines while I was trying to find my identity. Who knew those lines would lead me to connectivity? 1,704 miles, 25 hours to a residency the year before I lived illegally, where we would become a movement in the city of Lawtown. Kayla and I combined to coach the art of poetry. Then Clinton, Celeste, Julie, Angel, Rania, Jose, Eddie, and Kayla combined to become family. God took me from OKC, and GS came to me in a dream and reality.
An itch for anything that enables my creative side, that art is me side, that poetry side, like the spoken word kind. So Tim and I started a group that could coincide and write all the time and eventually perform and be like the birds flying high with their words. We got somebody together to feather around with literary practices, but in a not so classroom way, more like, this is all of me, take it or leave it type of way. Got together to represent Lawrence through our outspoken comments, breaking down barriers and cleaning up Project Tile Vomit. Speaking our truths, we became Guerrilla Society unapologetically. There came Tim and I, then Sam, Majoris, Melissa, Rania, Jose, Angel, then Celeste, Mama Julie, then Cleety, then Eddie. A few went on their own, but we are still growing, that in our thoughts hear our voices naturally. Sorry, we're not sorry. You see, we have awakened our abilities to be, just be us, be free, be.
Magic Bus 9 is now approaching. Destination, Truth. Please keep your belongings with you at all times. We hope you have a wonderful trip.
In time, we have realized that being poets comes from within us. These words were buried deep in us. And in different respects, in different walks of life, we met up in a room that was often too hot, and sometimes being a poet was rough, and words were sometimes ripped from our souls. And when we wanted to speak and we could not, we still spoke. And GS was family, and GS was where we went to be heard and to escape and to be ourselves. GS was shelter. We continuously learned that everyone is a different sort of broken, and words can patch over wounds, and poetry is spiritual healing. And who doesn't need spiritual healing? In light and in darkness, we can all find solace in our words and lick our wounds dry with poetry.
You ought to know it was not so long ago at El Taller, cafe and bookstore. I sought for more than the tangibility of books or food, and more I did indeed find. Ain't a location more fine, ain't a spot more chill than El Taller. Mixed vibes thrive and sew together by a spool of thread. El Taller, a warm loaf of bread, a fresh new part of my diet, soon to become much more, such as a perfectly planted acorn in the dirt that one day stood before me as a marvelous tree. Kayla came as great spawned roots, then came movement study. Strangers joined Guerrilla Society, Guerrilla Society. We've just gotta be movement fluid like anatomy, fluid motion, cause few have chosen to purify a path that have endured through the conditioning of the darkness beside us. In passing time, we haven't let the sun set on this our day. To verify to all listening that we glisten with amendable open minds. We are here for one another. Love is a must for each other. Despite being on opposite sides of the bus, guerrilla, guerrilla, warriors, thinkers, revolutionaries. This is us.
Lights, curtains, eyes on me. Late nights on YouTube watching slam competitions became a passion of mine in high school. When I probably should have been sleeping, I wanted to be like them. Have my words flow out like a bird singing to its babies. I wanted my words to be powerful and move people like that of Maya Angelou. I wanted to be recognized for the way I think like Albert Einstein, be respected for my own thoughts and opinions of those of these poets, but mostly, I wanted people to see me for who I am. Not by what I show, but for what I truly, truly am. So when I was at Altair with Angel and our waiter started to speak to us about writing and joining a group she had started at Movement City, I asked myself a few questions before I replied. Like, who is this woman? Why is she so happily and bubbly, it's just not normal? Is my food gonna be ready soon? I have to go to work. Where is this Movement City? Is that a gym? Why would there be poetry there in a gym? Is this finally the opportunity I have been looking for people to see me for me? Will I be any good? What if I just make a fool of myself? Am I able to show people myself while also being in a group? Is it possible that I'm even good enough to make it in this group? They're probably way better than I am. Why is she still here? I mean, my food is on the counter over there. Oh, veggie torta with fries, come this way. Okay, Jose, focus. Decide what you're going to say. Now my reply, yes, of course I'd join.
Jenny. Told me you knew Kayla and Timothy. Jenny. It was January of 2014. I was in your car, just visited memes. Jenny. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been here. Jenny. I started off my first day at Movement City. You led me into this small little room where they did spoken word poetry, pure joy for me. I needed this for months, you see. I entered this positive environment. Everyone was ready to get into their writings. I remember telling myself to leave a good impression because I knew I'd be staying for quite a while. They gave me 3 writing prompts. Art, what it was like of being content and being absent. I was quite anxious, but I used my 5 minutes wisely. I wasn't letting go of my pen. I kept writing every single thought that entered my head. I noticed this cool-looking older chick sitting right beside me, peeping at my paper. After the first prompt, she shook my hand. Name's Julie. The others then began to introduce themselves. They all seemed to be proud of me and I of myself. I still have my first pieces written with GS, because that was the day the inner poet in me found a way out of writer's block hell.
Yo, hold up! Yo! What's up, fellas? Mom, what's going on? Working my 40 hours a week, no better meditation. I'm weak, time for sleep, this shit is frustrating. HVAC, cooling down with AC, measure 3 times, cut once. Yes, that's what they told me. Met a sweet thing pouring sweet over sour, but then she made me think again. I hold a poetry group after my after-school program, she said. My mind's still sour, still working for money, but still no power. Words I can only explain. Join us, she said. She measured my heart 3 times. I made the first cut at the end of the sequel in Guerrilla Society, I trust.
Yo, wait, hold up.
How GS came to be. Born in the tropical islands of the Dominican Republic and raised in the streets of Brooklyn. I prefer to say I am where I want to be, because my heart has guided my life to seek actions of an environment made up of kind smiles, who I learned to walk a mile for. It all manifested in my 3rd year in Lawrence, so fresh out the educational system and into another that explores more, that flaming in the core, infused its gravitational pull to the fearless attitude of the one called Kayla. I was intrigued, her words beamed with peace. As she mentioned Guerrilla Society, I knew there would be the farewell to the haters. The idea moved me as it spoke, the mission to unite ourselves. it all felt right as I heard TMZ and I'm like, wow, this dude is crazy. Along with the thought-provoking Rania, prideful Celeste, and the enlightened Julie. It amazed me as I walk out Altair that first group session. Our message is now hidden, written within the tablets. Now fast forward to this moment, we have become prophets.
Everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are, so we tell